Hi guys, how's it going? Not really Keith here today with another Hearthstone Battlegrounds video. This time we're looking at playing Brann Bronzebeard. So what you want to try and do in the early game as Brann is pick up as many Battlecry minions as you can, because you're going to need to buy 4 of them to unlock his passive hero power that gives you the tier 5 minion Brann. Now getting the Brann as soon as possible is obviously very good, not just because it gives you another minion on the board, but it also enables you to double your battle cries when you purchase them. Now an interesting point to note is that if you get a battle cry minion from something that isn't just purchasing it in the shop, let's say you pick up a spell that gives you a minion, those don't actually count towards your passive 4 minions. You have to actually purchase 4 minions from the shop in order to get the Brann. So it's really important to be buying the minions directly from the shop as early as you can to pick up the Brann. Now you'll notice something I do here. I have a gold minion in my hand, but I didn't play it that turn, and that's because this is something quite a few players do. If you're close to getting the Brann, sometimes it's better to not play the Battlecry minion, because you don't actually have to play the minion for it to count towards getting the passive. Then when you get the Brann, you can play the Battlecry minions you've kept and you get double the effect. So it's just a way of getting a bit more value out of those minions. But in general, in the early game, you want to try and stay lower tavern tier until you've got the Brann unlocked, and just building up those minions. Now, when to pick Brann? Usually I like to pick Brann when Murlocs are in the lobby, because there's some really good Battlecry Murloc builds. But there's also good builds with Elementals or Pirates, or, like in this game, even Demons. Demons can be viable with Brann as well. So in the early game, once you've got the Brann, you really want to be buying as many Battlecry minions as you can to try and get the value out of them. So any decent minion that has a Battlecry, usually good for Brann. You can see I'm just picking up any real Battlecry minions I see here, because most of them are going to be quite good. And trying to get that buddy online. However, Brann's buddy is a 0-3 taunt, and when it dies, it gives you a Battlecry minion on the board, and then adds it to your hand. So, really interestingly, the buddy has a really bad stat line. Right, it's a 0-3. It does summon a minion, but in general, it's not a great tempo buddy. So it's not going to get you that much in terms of value on the board, and it's not really a heavy hitting buddy, which means you need to make sure you're in a good position and not spending a lot of money on this buddy. What I see a lot of people doing is they'll spend 8-9 gold on their buddy, and then unfortunately what happens is they've spent so much on a 0-3 taunt that their board actually ends up being quite weak. So I'd advise you not to buy the buddy straight away for Brann. Wait until it costs kind of 0 to 4 gold and then pick it up. Otherwise your board's just going to be too weak. Unless you're particularly strong, then obviously you can pick it up earlier. But in general, you don't want to pick it up too early, because it isn't a great card to spend a lot of money on. I'd say somewhere between the 2 to 4 gold mark is perfect. It's probably how much the minion's worth. But any more than that, I think it's probably not worth it to buy it, and you should wait a turn or 2 more and then pick it up after that. So in this game, what I'm looking to do is get as much value from Battlecry minions as I can in the early game, and then transition that into a later game build. Now, as I said, in terms of what you can build as Brann, some good late game builds, a lot of them revolve around Battlecry. So any minion type that has good Battlecries, especially things like Murlocs, which have some really good ones. But you'll see I get this shop. Now this is a really good shop. I've already been buffing the shop quite a lot. And usually I wouldn't play Demons here. But with a shop like this, I don't really... the game sort of decides for me. So I'm most likely, I'm going to freeze the shop and look to pick up these false implicators with the slimy Felbud. Now, even though Brann's buddy is going to generate you Battlecry minions, a lot of those minions aren't going to be too helpful. Unless you're playing like a Kalagos build or something that revolves around playing Battlecry minions. But what they are going to do is they're going to give you some extra gold. So they're going to be quite good as an extra gold input, and then if they do help your board improve, that's obviously great as well. But what I'm looking to do this game is buff the shop with these Battlecry minions, these slimy Fellbloods, and then use the false implicators to eat the shop. So I do pick up the triple buddy here. The triple buddy, instead of giving you 1 minion, summons 2 minions and gives 2 minions to your hand. If you don't have enough space on the board, it will just put those Battlecry minions into your hand. So don't worry about needing space to summon both the Battlecry minions. They'll just go into your hand anyway, even if you don't have the space on the board. So the Drakari pickup was really good here because it works with the false implicators. It means they eat twice because they're end of turn effects. And my shop's getting quite big. But in general as Brann, what you want to be doing once you've got the Brann and you're sort of picking up Battlecry minions is slowly pick up Battlecry minions to make your board stronger while leveling until you find a composition that works. So until you find a comp to work into the Brann. As I said, usually you want to be going tier 6 and working towards a Murloc build, because the tier 6 Murlocs work very well with Brann. But then there's also some elemental options. If you're getting a lot of elementals in your shop, they can work very well with Brann, or pirates, where you pick up some pirates, you pick up a Greymane and a Cleave, and that works well also. But there's really many different comps you can build with Brann, which is why he's one of the most interesting characters. So you've really just got to be open to playing whatever Bob's going to give you in the shop, and then using that as best you can, because there are a lot of different options. But in this game I do go for demons, and cards like the Mind Muck obviously very good when I've got a big shop, triggering twice. But usually there are there are a few minion types in the game that are very good with Brann, but one that a lot of people don't realise is actually beasts. So if beasts are in the game, you can pick up the tier 4 drop, the Rylak, which can trigger adjacent minions' battle cries, and that works with Brann as well. So usually Murlocs are good, and then beasts, pirates, elementals, these sort of minion types. Although I've seen Brann builds with every minion type, so. But in general, I'd say if Murlocs are in the lobby, then it's a decent pick. The reason that Murlocs are good with Brann, regardless of if you're even playing Murlocs, is because of the tier 6 minion Young Murkai, where adjacent minions trigger their battle cries at the end of your turn. And that works with Brann, it works with Drakari as well. So that can be good with any comp. So basically you pick up the Young Murkai, you put it next to a battle cry minion, and then it can help out whatever battle cry you're playing. And it's actually what I'm hoping to find in this game. If you are a newer player or you're not confident in your ability to adapt to different board state, I would avoid Brann, unless you're just looking to power level to 6 and play Murlocs, because there is a bit of uncertainty when it comes to playing Brann. You know, because you've got quite a few options, it's really dependent on adapting to what's in the shop. So it's not sort of like a guaranteed build like some of the other characters have builds that you just build into. Brann, you're quite open to play quite a few different things. So if you're not very confident with playing quite a versatile build, I wouldn't advise picking him as a hero, and go for something a bit more consistent that usually plays one or two different builds. But if you are looking to get creative, if you are looking to explore different potential builds, Brann's a great option for this, because he can create lots of different comps that usually wouldn't work. So the new spell's actually been added in to discover a buddy. I think this is great. I think it allows for some really interesting compositions. So you can see I do get 2 Battlecry options here. I'm going to go for upgrading them to tier 6 minions, hoping to pick up a Fellbat or a Young Murkai. Young Murkai would be great here. I do get the Fellbat, but it switches again because it triggers the Battlecry twice. And then the other options aren't great.
Hard work pays off.
But because of the Brann, I am getting the shop quite buffed up here, as you can see. Even an option to pivot into magnetics or something here. I only really have 1 big minion, so it could have been viable to actually just keep the Implicator and then switch into like a magnetic build or even a Murloc build and just keep the 1 big demon. But I don't choose to do that this game.
Victory! That's how it's done. Yeah, a triple. Let's see what you get.
So I'm a bit careful about scam here because I only have 1 big minion. So really I'm looking to get some stats on other minions. But at this stage of the game, economy is still important, but really you're looking to transition into like a final board state. So the Brann, the egg, these minions aren't doing much for me. Obviously having a 0-6 taunt on your board isn't ideal in terms of stats, especially in the late game. Which is why I mentioned Brann's buddy. It is very good sort of early to mid game to get your generation online, but after that it's not going to scale. It's a really bad stat line, so you do want to be getting rid of it before the end of the game. Although if you're strong, you know, there's no need to. I'm not taking damage here, so there's no real need for me to get rid of it at this stage. You can synergize the buddy though, so if you pick up a Baron, or sorry, a Titus Rivendare, that will work with the buddy. So you can get, with the regular one, two Battlecry minions a turn, or with the golden one you can get 4 Battlecry minions a turn. Really good for your card generation. There used to be the Dragon Naga that spellcraft trigger a Battlecry. Brann was a lot stronger when that card was in the game, because you could just trigger the battle cries. But now the only real way to do it, I think, is with either the Rylak or with the Young Murkai. So you want to be looking for one of those two, really, because they just get so much value. Like the Rylak, you can give it Reborn. You can play a Baron with it, sorry, a Titus. And the Murkai, you can play a Drakari with it. You can play a Brann with it. So some interesting builds in this game. I think because I picked up the False Implicator so early though, it just seems to be outscaling in terms of its stat line. Late game as well, don't be afraid to use the Eyes of the Earth Mother card, regardless of what build you're playing. It does cost 6 gold, but making a tier 4 or below minion golden is very good, regardless. So I'm going to pick up the Cupcakes card, really good card, I spoke about it in my last video. When you've got a buffed shop, that's like 100 plus 150 worth of stats. Which is so many stats for 4 gold. And then I do see the Young Murkai in the shop there. It's a little bit late though. I think the Cultist is better at this point just because it's probably the last round. So once you've got a few big demons, you can just play the Cultist, but you have to be wary of Bramblewitch. So the Cultist summons the first demon that died, and it's stealth. But if the first demon that died gets hit by the Quillbore Bramblewitch and becomes a 3-3, it will summon back a 3-3. Which can be very annoying. Thankfully it's not in this game. Well, thankfully it's not been played this game. But there it is, I do manage to pick up the win with demons. Really strong hero, good all round, but I'd say to only pick him up if you're confident playing sort of quite versatile builds. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks.